The sun cast its warm glow over the small, quiet suburban neighborhood as the Thompson family pulled up to their new home. The two-story Victorian-style house stood proudly, its white paint glistening, and the surrounding lush garden filled with vibrant colors. Excitement filled the air as Jack and Emily Thompson exchanged joyful glances, dreaming of the memories they would create with their two children, 10-year-old Lily and 6-year-old Max. "Wow, this place is amazing," Lily exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder as they stepped out of the car. Max, holding his favorite stuffed bear, nodded in agreement. "I can't wait to see my room." Jack placed a reassuring hand on Emily's shoulder as they all stared at the house. "This is it, Em. Our fresh start." Emily smiled and squeezed his hand. "It's perfect, Jack." As they stepped inside, they were greeted by the warm embrace of their new home. The living room, with its cozy fireplace and large bay window, offered a view of the picturesque neighborhood outside. The scent of freshly polished wood filled the air, and soft sunlight spilled through the sheer curtains, casting intricate shadows on the hardwood floor. "All right, team," Jack announced, clapping his hands together. "Let's explore our new kingdom and pick our rooms." The family eagerly dispersed, leaving no corner of the house unexplored, their laughter echoing through the halls, entirely unaware of the mysteries their new home held. The first few days in their new home were filled with the joyful chaos of unpacking and settling in. However, the excitement began to wane as the family started to experience inexplicable events. One evening, as Emily prepared dinner in the kitchen, she heard the soft creak of the floorboards above her. Assuming it was one of the kids, she called out, "Lily, Max, dinner will be ready in a few minutes." But there was no response, only an eerie silence. Later that night, Jack was arranging his books in the study when he noticed a cold draft. He looked around, searching for an open window, but found none. Goosebumps prickled his skin, and he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As the days went by, more strange occurrences took place. Doors slammed shut without warning, and the faint sound of a child's laughter echoed through the halls. Lily and Max grew increasingly uneasy, with nightmares plaguing their sleep. One morning over breakfast, Lily hesitantly spoke up. "Mom, Dad, I keep having these bad dreams. There's a girl in my room, but I can't see her face." Max's eyes widened as he chimed in. "I've seen her too in my dreams. She's scary." Jack and Emily exchanged concerned glances. "Kids, it's normal to feel scared in a new place," Emily reassured them. "But it's just our imaginations playing tricks on us." However, the strange occurrences continued to escalate. Items went missing, only to reappear in the most unlikely places. Whispers echoed through the house at night, and the once warm atmosphere grew increasingly cold and unwelcoming. As the family gathered in the living room one evening, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. The air became thick with tension, and it was clear that something unnatural was lurking within their home. The paranormal events intensified, leaving the Thompson family in a constant state of unease. One day, as Emily was folding laundry, a sudden gust of wind knocked over a stack of clean towels. She jumped back, her heart racing, and whispered, "Who's there?" The only response was a soft giggle, chilling her to the bone. Jack, too, couldn't escape the presence that haunted their home. As he worked in his study late one night, his papers began to rustle, and a pen rolled across the desk on its own. He gripped the edge of the desk, his knuckles turning white, and muttered, "This can't be real." The children were not spared from the ghostly torment either. Max woke up one morning with scratches on his arm, and Lily claimed to see a shadowy figure darting past her bedroom door. The family gathered in the living room, their faces etched with concern and fear. Jack took a deep breath and addressed the situation head-on. "We can't ignore this any longer. Something is haunting our home, and we need to find out why." Emily wiped away a tear, her voice trembling. "I can't bear to see our children suffering. We need to do something." Determined to protect his family, Jack began researching paranormal investigators in their area. He came across a woman named Rachel, who had a reputation for helping families plagued by supernatural disturbances. Desperate for answers, Jack contacted her and explained their predicament. Rachel arrived at the Thompson home a few days later, armed with an array of equipment designed to detect and document paranormal activity. She listened intently as the family recounted their experiences, her face a mix of sympathy and determination. As night fell, Rachel set up her equipment throughout the house, hoping to capture evidence of the unseen force, The family huddled together in the living room, their anxiety mounting with each passing hour. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hallway and a door slammed shut upstairs. Rachel's equipment whirred to life, recording the inexplicable events. "This entity is strong," Rachel murmured, her eyes scanning the data on her devices. "But it seems to be focused on the children. There must be a reason." Jack clenched his fists, his resolve unwavering. "Whatever it is, we'll get to the bottom of it. We have to keep our family safe." With the full support of Emily and the kids, Jack and Rachel dove into the house's history, determined to uncover the truth behind the haunting. The family's bond grew stronger in the face of adversity, their love and determination becoming an unbreakable shield against the malevolent presence that threatened their home. With Rachel's help, Jack delved into the history of their home, searching for clues about the tragic event that might have led to the haunting. They spent hours poring over old newspapers, property records, and even visited the local library to gather information. One evening, as they sat in the dimly lit study, Jack discovered a newspaper article that sent chills down his spine. The headline read, "Young Girl Dies Tragically in House Fire." The article detailed the heart-wrenching story of a family who had lived in the house nearly 3 decades earlier. A fire had broken out, and their 7-year-old daughter, Eliza, perished in the blaze. The family had moved away shortly after, unable to cope with their loss. Rachel studied the article, her expression solemn. "This must be why the entity is drawn to your children. Eliza's spirit might be seeking a connection with them because they remind her of her own lost childhood." Jack sighed, his eyes filled with sorrow. "We have to help her find peace, for our family's sake and for hers." Together, Jack and Rachel devised a plan to communicate with Eliza's spirit. They gathered the family in the living room, explaining their findings and the intention to help Eliza move on. Despite their fear, Lily and Max bravely agreed to participate, knowing that their courage could make a difference for the lost soul that haunted their home. As the sun set, casting an orange glow through the curtains, Rachel lit candles and arranged them in a circle. She instructed the family to sit together, holding hands, and focus their thoughts on Eliza. With a calming voice, Rachel began to recite a gentle incantation. The air grew still and a heaviness settled in the room. The candles flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls, and a soft, otherworldly voice echoed through the air. "Help! Me!" Jack swallowed the lump in his throat and addressed the spirit directly. "Eliza, we know what happened to you, and we're so sorry. We want to help you find peace. Can you tell us what you need?" There was a long silence, and then the spirit spoke again, her voice filled with longing. "I just want to be remembered." Emily, moved by the girl's plea, held her children close. "Eliza, we promise to remember you and honor your memory. You don't have to be alone anymore." As the family made their heartfelt promise, the air lightened, and a sense of tranquility settled in the room. The Thompsons could feel that Eliza's spirit had found solace in their words, and a new chapter was about to begin for them all. With the newfound knowledge of Eliza's tragic past, the Thompson family knew they had to help her find peace. Rachel guided them through the process of reaching out to Eliza, urging them to be open and empathetic towards her pain. One calm evening, the family gathered in the living room, the curtains drawn, and the room illuminated by soft candlelight. Jack took a deep breath and called out to Eliza's spirit, his voice steady despite the fear gripping his heart. "Eliza, we know you've been trying to communicate with us. We understand your pain and loneliness, and we want to help you. Please, let's find a way to heal together." A sudden gust of wind swept through the room, causing the candles to flicker. The temperature dropped, and the Thompsons held each other closer for comfort. It was then that the ghostly figure of a young girl appeared before them, her face etched with sadness and longing. Emily stepped forward, her eyes brimming with tears. "Eliza, we're so sorry for what happened to you. We can't imagine the pain you've endured, but we want to help you find peace and move on from this place." The ghostly girl hesitated, her eyes locked on the Thompson children. She reached out a trembling hand, and Lily, moved by compassion, took it in her own. The connection was instant, and a flood of emotions washed over the family, sorrow, fear, and a deep, unrelenting loneliness. But amidst the pain there was also love. The Thompsons embraced Eliza's spirit, offering her the comfort and affection she had been denied in life. And as their love enveloped her, the darkness that had consumed the house began to lift, replaced by a warm golden light that seemed to heal their wounded hearts. With Eliza's spirit finally finding solace, the paranormal activity within the Thompsons' home ceased. The air felt lighter, and the once oppressive atmosphere was replaced by a sense of calm and serenity. The family knew they had a responsibility to fulfill their promise and help Eliza's spirit move on. But first, they needed to heal from their own emotional wounds. Over the next few weeks, Jack and Emily took it upon themselves to ensure the well-being of their children. They spent time together as a family, sharing their feelings and comforting one another. They also reached out to a therapist who specialized in trauma recovery, who helped guide the family through the healing process. One afternoon, Jack and Emily sat together in their sun-drenched living room discussing their next steps. "We need to honor Eliza's memory just as we promised," Emily said, her voice resolute. Jack nodded in agreement. "We'll hold a small memorial for her, and we'll make sure she's never forgotten." As they made plans for the memorial, they could feel Eliza's presence around them, lighter and more peaceful than before. The Thompsons knew that they had made a lasting connection with the ghostly child, and in helping her, they had also found healing for themselves. A week after their emotional encounter with Eliza, the Thompsons gathered in their backyard to hold the promised memorial. Jack and Emily had created a small shrine complete with a framed photograph of Eliza they had found among the house's old belongings. As they stood around the shrine, Jack took a deep breath and began to speak. "Today we remember Eliza, a young girl whose life was tragically cut short. We honor her memory and promise to keep her spirit alive." Emily placed a bouquet of flowers by the photo, tears welling up in her eyes. "You're not alone anymore, Eliza." Lily and Max, holding hands, added their own tokens of love, a hand-drawn picture and a small stuffed animal. The family stood in silence, feeling a mixture of sorrow and peace, knowing they had helped a lost soul find closure. With Eliza's spirit finally at rest, the family embraced one another, grateful for the renewed bond they shared. They looked forward to their future in their new home, no longer plagued by fear, but filled with hope and a sense of unity.